Good evening. It is 8:20. I figured I would just do a short video for you guys about a misconception that I see a lot that I would like to discuss. It has become normalized for people to joke about checking themselves into a mental hospital, getting a tune-up, getting the padded room. And there is a conversation about whether those jokes are offensive. That's not the conversation we're going to have here. I'm going to talk about something else entirely. So one time, I had talked about my experience being in a psychiatric facility, and I was told by a friend of mine that sounds really awful. Next time you go, you should go to this facility instead. And it occurred to me that people don't understand how this works. A lot of people have the belief that you can check yourself into a mental health facility like you can check yourself into a hotel and get whatever care it is that you're looking for. And that's not how it works at all, my friend. First of all, beds and facilities are very limited, so they only give out these beds to people who are in the most need of them, and these are people who are like a danger to themselves or a danger to others, or like otherwise considered mentally defective. You do not just go there to any facility you want and get a bed just because you're having a nervous breakdown. That's not how that works. What happens is if you feel like you need that extra mental health support that a facility would provide, you go to the emergency room and they will bring you to a separate wing of the emergency room for psychiatric emergencies. And I like to call it the tank, the hold, the fishbowl, whatever. And while you are in this facility, this lockdown section of the this lockdown section of the hospital, you're not receiving any treatment at this point. You're getting whatever meds you're prescribed, and you're basically kept safe until a bed at a facility opens up. And when you get there, you're monitored by camera at all times. You get everything taken away from you. You don't even get to wear your own underwear. And you are in a bed. And in my experience, we could have a TV, but it was way up high behind glass that was obviously shatterproof. Like, you really could not have much of anything. And you can't just leave when you want to. If you say that you are a risk to yourself or if you're a risk to others, you need to convince the psychiatrist somehow that you're safe to leave, and you may, in some cases, have to get a judge's approval. You don't just get to leave. You don't get to have your stuff. You don't get to choose what hospital you go to. You sit in that holding tank facility until they find a bed in a psychiatric facility to send you to. And you also don't necessarily get to choose that either. You can suggest it in certain cases, but the priority of the ER is to empty those beds as fast as possible. So the first bed that opens up is yours, you're going. The first time I went, the first bed that opened up was the 4th floor of the hospital that I was in. That was really easy. The second time I went, a few beds opened up, but they ended up withdrawing that offer. One of them was going to be an hour away from where I was staying. Like, how was I getting home? I had no idea. They don't care about that. They care about getting you out. So I ended up not going there. And the end of the day, I ended up going to a facility that was maybe like 30 minutes away from my home. And they do arrange for transport back home. I know this now. I didn't know this then, but I know this now. But that facility, I liked it. It was one of my better experiences. But that was not my choice. If I wanted to leave that holding facility, I had to take the bed that was offered no matter where it was. It could be in Riverview, it could be in Presque Isle, it could be another hospital with a mental health unit in another city. It does not matter. Just get out of here, basically. And once you get to a psychiatric facility, it depends on where you go. You do get actual treatment, therapy, medication. You see a psychiatrist. You can have activities. You are, in most cases, you are allowed to have more of your possessions, but it's still very limited. Like the facility that I went to, I couldn't even keep my own pens. I had to sign out a pen to write in my journal with. And one of the psych techs would come around and collect the pens at nighttime. One facility would not keep plastic silverware around in case a patient would try to swallow it and harm themselves. And I had an okay-ish experience at one facility. I had an amazing experience at my latest hospital stay. But you're not necessarily going to get the spa treatment that people envision they're going to get when they're going to a psych facility. And that's something that people really need to understand before they decide, hey, I want a vacation, I'm just going to go check in. So I hope that clears some things up. I'm always happy to answer more questions. Ask questions in the comments, and I hope you have a great evening.